Right, okay. Well, we've all been watching and reading about the terrible events in Gaza over the past couple of weeks. It seems that Israel government is purposely starving the population, over 1 million displaced Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. It's purposely starving them while continuing to bomb them. I think there was another attack over the weekend. But I have to say that it's very, very difficult to understand exactly what's going on the ground. So I'm absolutely delighted to be joined by an expert in the region, Youssef Alelhu. Welcome back to the Freeman Report.
Thank you so much for having me.
Youssef, I'm sure that you've got more ears to the ground than I have. Give us an update on what's going on the ground at the moment.
So my family is one family out of 2.5 million people who are suffering for the past 6 months. The vast majority of my family, they are residing in northern Gaza, where Israel is imposing a man-made famine. They are being starved like the rest of the population there. You're talking about approximately 700,000 in the north, and the rest is in the south. So, and also recently, by the way, 2 days ago, Israeli officials, they said that they will not allow any aid truck to go into northern Gaza, also to increase the pressure because the prisoner swap deal failed. And as a result, Israel wants to keep the pressure, keep attacking Gaza, north to south. It's unbearable situation. Gaza Shifa Hospital is still being besieged for the almost a week now, and so many houses destroyed, burned to the ground. People are still internally displaced. Snipers taking up positions, opening at any moving object, killing the drones, tanks. I mean, it's like the Israelis, they are enjoying a video game, to be honest, in Gaza, destroying and killing. And, for 6 months, it's too much.
Yeah, I talked in my introduction actually about I forget the name of the group, but there is a human rights group, and they're saying 560 Palestinians and aid workers, UN aid workers as well, have been shot by the American military for basically queuing up to get food from trucks that have managed to get in. That's disgraceful. I mean, what? I don't know. I mean, you know personally people on the ground there. What is the mood in Gaza at the moment?
Yeah, you meant they were shot by Israeli military, not the American military.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
So basically, Israel is continuing to humiliate Palestinians, opening fire on hungry Palestinians who are gathering near Al Kuwait roundabout in south of Gaza City, and including amongst them a number of aid workers, also some volunteers who risk their lives to provide protection to those odd convoys, and also some clan members who said that they would like to facilitate the entry of those aid trucks into Gaza. A number of UN facilities were struck. A number of doctors, medics, paramedics, you name it. There is no one safe in Gaza. And by the way, Israel is interested to create chaos and lawlessness and anarchy by attacking any police officer with a uniform. And they just want to create this chaotic situation in order to, push Palestinians to kill each other. And it's happening. People with knives are, imagine if you have children and you cannot feed them, you will do your best in order, even if you are swamping the aid trucks. And, by the way, a number of aid trucks drivers, they were attacked. UN officials also, they say they cannot cope with the huge number of demands. So there must be a security force on the ground to provide protection. These hungry people are not listening to anybody. And Israel can resolve this matter by allowing more extra trucks until this hunger is relieved. And the aid that is being dropped from the air also is creating the same scenario, chaotic situations. People are hungry. And also, by the way, water is not available for drinking. So it's food, it's water, it's medicine. Even those who are being shot now and injured, there are no ambulances to carry them to the hospitals because all hospitals are collapsed and destroyed, including Shifa Hospital.
Yeah. And let's be clear, these are civilians, aren't they? Because I hear so many times in the UK people saying they find it difficult, I think a lot of people, to distinguish between Hamas and ordinary Palestinians. I've heard people talking about the Hamas marches in London, which is just absolutely ridiculous because there is a distinction between ordinary civilians and those in the Hamas terrorist group. Now, Youssef, lots of people in the UK have got links. You've obviously got, family out in Gaza. Are there any attempts to try and get those family members out of the country? And are the politicians in the UK listening?
Unfortunately, no. We are experiencing double standard policy and hypocrisy. When we compare the situation in Gaza, Palestine, and Ukraine, you can tell the difference straight away. So we are worried about the safety of our families to bring them to the UK, since we are British citizens. We're talking about 300 British Palestinians. And the total number of our families combined together, if the UK is listening and agreed to launch a family visa scheme, they wouldn't exceed 5,000, 7,000, maybe 10,000, the maximum. Whereas Ukrainians who were welcomed here in the UK, approximately 300,000. So we are lobbying a number of you MPs. We sent many letters to David Cameron's office. No one is listening. The Home Office they say, it was one-off scheme. And we would like to give the opportunity to the British people to sponsor refugees from Gaza. There is so much solidarity with the Palestinians in Gaza. And let's also remind the audience that our misery started in 1917 when Balfour Declaration was issued to give a homeland to the Jewish people at the expense of our suffering. So the UK must play a practical and important role and take up its responsibility to correct the historical injustice. The British people are outraged from the stance of the UK government by continuing to provide ammunition and weapons to Israel, and by continuing to ignore our voices to bring our families to safety. Leaving Gaza is a nightmare. Approximately each person who would like to leave Gaza has to pay $7,000 to the Egyptian authorities. That's why, so many people have recreated GoFundMe links.
Yeah, I mean, I would put the emphasis really on the UK government stopping supporting Israel along with the US, because, particularly this situation with over 1 million people now on the edge of starvation. That hasn't happened overnight. That's been going on for months. Israel is not letting the food trucks through. And when they do get through, they're literally shooting people in the street that are queuing for the food. So, I'd be looking at the UK government and the US government and saying, what is going on that you are supporting Israel in this, what can only be described, I think, my view is as a war crime. Youssef, we're going to take a quick break now, but don't go anywhere, because I'd like to talk after the break about why we've not seen more attacks on Israel from surrounding countries. I think at the start of this conflict, when Israel started to crack down on the Palestinians, certainly me and many others were expecting things to escalate. So I'd like to talk about why that has not happened. So don't go anywhere, Youssef. Stay right where you are, and we'll be back in a short second here on TNT.
What a news day this is turning out to be.
Wait till you hear this.
Now, TNT Radio News.
Matt Boyland here with a look at your TNT headlines. More than 130 civilians are dead and close to another 200 wounded after gunmen stormed a concert hall in the Russian capital and opened fire before burning the building to the ground. It's one of the worst terrorist attacks in Russia's modern history. President Vladimir Putin has condemned the massacre and vowed retribution.
All the perpetrators, organizers, and customers of this crime will be justly and inevitably punished.
The common housefly, caught in the clutches of the spider's web. Every move it makes just makes matters worse. Then, dinner time.
Feast on the captivating stories, videos, and helpful information on our website.
Whoa.
Dinner's ready.
Oh, man.
Escape is futile.
Just one more video.
Get stuck in our web.
TNT Radio.live.
Right. Now, Youssef, when we've seen things flare up in the past, we've seen examples where Hezbollah from Lebanon have started firing lots of rockets. The Egyptians as well have put out some pretty strong statements over the past sort of few months. But we're not actually seeing any attacks. And I think I was expecting things to escalate. Why do you think that is?
So let's also remind ourselves that Israel's goal is to release the hostages and also to bring an end to Hamas's rule. Israel has failed miserably for the past 6 months to implement this demand. And also regarding Israel's intention to wipe out Gaza and ethnically cleanse the population, the whole world has become Palestinians. And the Israel, a number of UK governments in the West, they are trying to criminalize even the waving of the Palestinian flag. Now, Israel also wants to drag the feet or the foot of the American administration to the region when they were inciting against Hezbollah, against Iran. And it seems that the US is not interested to expand this conflict. And I think those countries neighboring Palestine, Gaza, Egypt, and Jordan in particular, I think they are not in a position to go into a conflict with Israel. Probably they are being extorted, because they receive funds from the US administration. They have links, and we know the leaders, they go in line with the Israeli side and the American side. Probably they were, warned, if you dare to attack Israel, then you will have to face the consequences. It's a kind of selfishness, to be honest. They say, as long as we are not attacked, it's not our business. Those Palestinians in Gaza, they are causing us headache, and Hamas has to be removed and so on. Even Saudi Arabia is not intervening. We haven't heard strong condemnations from a number of Arab countries. Only in the West. I think this change has to be coming from the USA. That's why there's so much awareness in the States. They say, not in our name. Even Jewish voices are growing. Americans say we must not send weapons to Israel to kill innocent Palestinians.
Yeah, and obviously we know the problem in the US, which is the fact that AIPAC and other Jewish lobbies there are just so powerful, which is a real problem in the US. Youssef, how much do you think we obviously know about these gas fields off Gaza, which belong to the Palestinian people, all of the gas, there's trillions of cubic feet of gas in them. We know that Israel wants to build a canal, that the best route would be to actually go through Gaza. And at a time when Europe is absolutely screaming out for energy, how much of this do you think is part of what is going on now?
Natural gas fields were discovered in the 90s. And since the signing of Oslo Accords, the Palestinian Authority, British Petroleum, BP, the Israeli side, and a number of foreign investors, they have been trying to drill and extract the gas fields. But because of the situation in Gaza, Hamas was democratically elected in 2006, and the siege has been imposed, and Hamas is still in power. I think this was not implemented fully, because they are worried from some retaliatory homemade rockets fired from Gaza into those fields. I think it has something to do with this, because having an authority, a power in Gaza that opposes to Israel's practices and occupation, this is an obstacle. So we're not sure what's the percentage of this is true or not, but those gas fields about 35 nautical miles from the seashore of Gaza. It is a possibility. That's why Israel now, they have wiped out Gaza, especially in the northern part of Gaza, and now they are erecting some telecommunication towers and cameras and stuff, and they are blocking, preventing people from coming back to northern Gaza. And we are hearing about a US-sponsored port to be erected and built in the middle area of Gaza. It's a possibility, but we have to wait and see. But at the end of the day, Gaza can be a new Dubai if Israel lifts its restrictions and siege and its occupation. And by the way, Hamas can become like the IRA. The IRA was described as a terrorist organization, and when they struck a deal with Great Britain, then they have become peace doves. Hamas can be the same. I don't think this conflict can last forever. Both sides have to sit down, and it's in the interest of both parties to reach a settlement to this conflict.
And how much damage do you think has been done to the calls for a two-state solution? Because Gaza, much of it now has been flattened. There's talk about the land has been poisoned. It's difficult to see how people can go back, even if a peace is secured. Do you think that's even possible now, a two-state solution?
No, they destroyed it. And a number of Israeli officials, including the UK ambassador to the UK, she said the two-state solution is dead. We are not going to allow it. Netanyahu himself, he said, I will not allow the establishment of a Palestinian state because we don't trust him. And they are, eradicating the population in northern Gaza because they are now thinking to come back to Gaza, occupy it, and build a new Jewish settlements. And we've seen a number of videos of those colonialist settlers from New York and elsewhere. They say we are coming back to Gaza to enjoy the scene, to enjoy the beach. Israel is not interested in this solution, also because they have making things difficult in the West Bank, in annexing more lands, and they say the land is too small. And anyway, this Palestinian state will be demilitarized, a viable state with no army, with no sovereignty. What kind of state is that? So that we Palestinians say, okay, look, you don't want two-state solution. What about one-state solution, democratic state solution, a democratic secular state for everybody, regardless of race, religion, ethnicity, color, and they are not interested. Obviously, Israel wants Palestinians to leave and vanish, and this will not happen.
Yeah, it's absolutely devastating. And of course, I'm sat here just as a journalist talking about this. You've actually got family there, Youssef. So I really do hope this whole conflict resolves itself, because it's absolutely, it's absolutely dreadful what is going on there. And for people like me looking at this, it is a war crime what Israel is doing.
But listen, it's a genocide.
It is a genocide. I absolutely agree with you 100%. Youssef, thank you so much for coming on the Freeman Report. We'll have to get you back on again soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.